Welcome to the Art of Conscious Living. I'm so very pleased today to have as my guest a man from the San Francisco Bay Area who is actually a healer through the sexual energy. It's a Daka, a man who basically is like a shaman who basically heals the wounded. And I'm so very pleased to be able to sit and talk with him today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunyata is your name.
Sunyata,
And
Sachitananda.
What does this mean?
Sunyata basically means the void. And in Buddhist belief system, it's the pregnant void, the place out of which everything comes forward, the divine feminine.
And the last name?
Sachitananda, that means truth, consciousness, and bliss. And it's a collection together that basically means pure being, what our essence is.
How did you come across this work that you're doing now presently? And when did you first discover that? And what is this work that you are doing in your own words?
I'm a Daka, or a Sacred Intimate, and that's a person who I help people to understand themselves better, focusing on their sensual, sexual, spiritual relationship and integration. So all of us, or most everyone that I've ever come in contact with, has experienced some kind of wounding, sexual wounding, emotional wounding, and trauma in their life. And that will impede their ability to really feel in the moment with their beloved in an intimate relationship and express themselves sexually. So what I do is help people to awaken or heal, discover, and expand their knowledge of themselves and their sexual expression and experience.
Take me through the process from the beginning and during this process of what you do and how you do it.
Well, it's very similar to talking to a counselor, being with somebody that is adept at aiding you understand aspects of yourself that are confusing or you're not conscious to. But I focus in the realm of sensuality and sexuality. So I use, I'm a certified Tantric healer, and so I learned Tantra for about 12 years now. I've been practicing Tantra, and I use the principles and understanding about sexual energy to help someone become more conscious to what's going on for them, and to have exercises or practices that can help them to release the things that are blocking them from having that full experience in their life.
It sounds to be that it's like using a natural energy that is already there, and you're tapping into it. You're facilitating this energy to naturally flow in a way that, as you mentioned, blocked. There's blockages, henceforth the wounding. And there's people that probably are walking around that don't even know this is even happening to them.
That's true. That's true. The sexual energy, the eros, in Tantra, the kundalini, is employed to actually catalyze their awareness around something. So I'll lead them through a process where that's accessed. I first try to set up a safe space emotionally and mentally address the story or the issue that's coming up for them that they're aware of, the reason why they've contacted me, and then take them through the series of practices and things that help them to activate and really focus on what's going on for them. So it may be just bringing focus to, what are you feeling right now? Where is that in your body? What's going on for you? Or often there's a real physical relationship. A part of their body is numb or cold or has pain. Typically it's connected to the part of the body that's included or that experienced the trauma before. So it could be the genitals or it could be the stomach. And as those things are addressed and activated, then I can help them to understand it better, and with different tantric practices help them to release the energy that's stuck there and causing this issue for them.
Share with me, if you would, some of the experiences that you have seen by facilitating for others and the using of the breath and your idea of what role men play in this with their partners.
Oh, well, that's actually a very special interest of mine, working with couples to see how they can be sexual healers for each other in their relationship, and to educate them on how to hold the space for each other and the difference between a sexual engagement with each other and sexual healing, where one is just receiving or is being the focus of what's going on, and there's no reciprocation or expectation for anything else. So men can do tremendous things in their relationship to improve their connection, the deep connection with their beloved, to improve their sense of being met and showing up to each other, and being very robust in their experience with each other, instead of, settling for sexual relations that aren't satisfying, or they're over quickly, or they're having some difficulties in that area. It's really powerful to help a couple to release things that are keeping them from really experiencing each other completely, or to expand their horizons a little about what's possible with their sexual relationship. So it's an amazing process, and it's just so wonderful to be part of enriching other people's lives and helping them feel more of who they are. Because it's such an essential aspect of who we are. Our eros it's the vitality of life. It's what keeps us going. It's what inspires us, and it's often only seen as a sexual application, but eros is so much bigger than that, and it comes through in all parts of your life. So when a person addresses the areas that are blocked in their sensual, sexual, spiritual self, it releases energy that permeates the rest of their life, and everything improves.
And the improvement will be most noticeable by their life becomes effortless, and there becomes a spaciousness and openness to it.
It does.
As opposed to before.
It does, and it makes one feel more confident. The more that you understand about yourself, the more grounded you are, the more safe you feel. And when you're feeling safe, you can pretty much do anything. So it just is an amazing enhancement to most people's lives.
And it's not difficult. You're tapping into something that is very natural, that we were born with, that we seem to have moved away from. And
well, even the process of healing is very natural, because for people, when they come to see me, their life is pushing something forward. There's something coming up for them that their life is asking them to address, to look at. And so the frustration in their relationship, or the pain they're feeling in sex, or the confusion, or something, actually is a process of the self and the body trying to wake us up and trying to get us to look at something and deal with it. So that's what happens, and for me, I just listen to them and listen to their body and help them listen to them and their body. And then when that happens, it's easy for the releasing to take place, because the wounding and the trauma creates this unconscious. What happens when we have sexual wounding or trauma is that it's too much for us to understand. We don't feel safe. It's beyond what we can handle, and that takes and stuffs it into our subconscious. So in our subconscious, it's not present to us, and we don't know what's going on, and it only comes up in hints and acting out and different things that we don't really know why. So bringing awareness to it really goes a long way. As soon as awareness is brought to it with some help, it will go.
And not seeing it as a problem, seeing every moment as an opportunity for learning, for growth, an opportunity for an openness to happen. It's not a bad thing, it's actually a good thing.
Yes.
It's just a shift of an attitude to it, where in society we may be thinking that that's a symptom of something and we have to stop that from happening, we have to suppress that. Mm-hmm. It's quite the opposite of turning it around and saying, let's embrace it, let's follow it, let it talk to us.
Yes, exactly.
How long have you been doing your work, and how did you come across your work, and why are you doing your work as a soul spirit of being here?
Well, I do very much believe it is my life purpose, that I've aligned, I've recognized it, and I've aligned myself to it. I've been a spiritual counselor and a minister for over 25 years, and then I started studying Tantra about 12 years ago, and I became certified as a Daka about 4 years ago. So I've been doing it focused in that way about 4 years. Prior to that, it was sort of informally done with friends and people in my community and people who I was in relationship with.
So you were actually living it. You were the living example of it, and in practice, and you were seeing the results that you were getting.
Exactly.
And now you want to give it to others who so much needed it and weren't even aware, possibly, that they actually would need it.
Yeah. It was a process of me becoming aware of myself and applying it in my relationship, and then applying it with others that were seeing what was going on for me. And then there was a point where it was not an easy decision to take it public and offer it. It's somewhat controversial and new. A lot of people aren't aware of this type of healing service is available. So it took a little while for me to get clear about that and really feel that I could do it in a way that served for the best of others, of everybody. And I did, and so I've been offering it since.
Would that mean that you're a sexual surrogate?
No, I'm not a sex worker or a sexual surrogate. I don't have sex with my clients.
Okay, you do not?
No.
Okay, so what would that mean? How, when you're talking about sensuality and sexuality, how do you work with the person, and what would be involved with that?
Well, it does include somatic engagement and somatic exercises, so the body is included in the process. A lot of it, however, is unspoken and is just being present and holding the space.
And for those who don't know the meaning of somatic?
Bodily engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're working with their energy and their breath,
yes.
and it's what's happening within inside of them, and it's a process that you are facilitating, and you're there as a facilitator but witnessing to allow them to go on that journey.
Exactly.
And you're taking them on that journey.
Exactly. And
beautiful.
I have training, so I can tell when certain things are happening and help them through, or avoid a complete overload of some kind, and yet still be present for them and allow what wants to happen for them, which is really where the wisdom is. It's not really me. It's their body, it's their self, and I'm merely trying to facilitate their wisdom to come forward for them to see it.
Or to facilitate, to remove the obstacles that are there.
Exactly. That wisdom will help them see how their obstacles can be released. I like to say that in many cases, these are sort of like guards or servants that were put in place at a time when we weren't able to handle it. And now is the time when they can go to those guards and appreciate them and release them from duty, and allow them to go serve in another capacity.
What is your idea of servicing and helping others and being there in service to others in this present day of the information age?
That's a great question. I think just the fact of being of service is part of what's coming in I believe, the new paradigm of social relating that's coming across this planet, that's waking up. Our culture has been more self-focused and worried about their own selfish goals and agendas. And I believe that what's changing is that people are able to now see that serving a consensus or a group common goal with what their gift is within that is really where there's so much more fulfillment and so much more positive effect that comes from it. Instead of trying to convince or manipulate or coerce others to go with your program, with your agenda, and having limited results, when one can see how they can align with or support and cooperate and collaborate with a greater mission, a greater goal, where their agenda fits inside that, it's really a powerful result and much more holistic in its benefits as well.
You see this being done in small communities such as Sebastopol, Fairfax, Bolinas, and these places are looked upon as being the woo-woo people, the people that are on the fringes of society, where I see that as really being the natural state of really what is the right order to be in. It seems to me that's what looks normal on a crazy day, basically. I love that saying and that expression. Yeah. And the normal is what is the crazy. And it's now looked upon as being normal. And what is normal about walking and feeling so separate from everybody? What is normal about that? It's basically, that's become an attitude, a way that we have now conditioned ourselves to believe in and to be like. What is normal about stepping over a homeless person and averting your eyes when you see that homeless person because you get nervous, because you can't be there, and the energy of they on the sidewalk sleeping there or with their hand out begging for food, for money, it makes you nervous. Yeah. To me, that is not normal. Normal is, even if you don't give something to that person, you connect with that person.
Yeah. Well, feeling that connection, that fellow feeling, I think is also part of that new paradigm that's wakening up and happening. And the woo-woo people, they're a lot more than in this area. I get my website and my Facebook pages, I get contacted from people from all around the world. Many, hundreds of people a day on my website. And I've had many people come from different countries and different places in the United States to come and have sessions with me and do work with me. And I know that I've connected with fellow sexual healers, Dakas and Dakinis in different parts of the world as well. So there's a great movement that's happening. There's a great waking up that's going on. And I think it's just going to get better and better and better.
And it's free. I mean, talk about the healthcare and all that, the reforming. I mean, it's free. It's free access. We all own our own sexual sacred energy, and basically, it's more potent than any pill, Viagra, or any other pill that you can take. It's basically tapping into energy that really has probably never been tapped into before, that people are not aware of.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because one of the things that kind of goes with all of this that's not widely known is once you clear these things from yourself and you can feel more of who you are and have this freeness in your expression and your experience of your intimate self, your sensuality and your sexuality, there's a transcendent effect that happens. And often it happened to me, and I've seen it happen to others, where there's this catapulting of spiritual awareness that goes with it. And people's lives change dramatically in that their awareness raises, their consciousness raises more and more and more, and they become whole new people. It's almost as if this is the key that unlocks the door for this new paradigm to come through and facilitate this great transition that's going on. I don't think it's solely responsible for it, but it's definitely facilitating it.
Define what you mean by spiritual. I mean, there's a lot of different understandings and takes on that.
Our connection to the divine. And for so long, sexuality has been devoid or separated from spirituality. And yet we know from archaeological digs and ancient understanding of ancient cultures and so forth, that thousands of years ago it was quite common that spirituality and sexuality went hand in hand. They had no concept of them being separate or different. So what we're discovering now is the truth of that in this elevated and more aware sexual experience, the divine enters in, the divine comes through, and you feel within yourself your connection to the divine, but you more importantly see it in your beloved. So the connection that you have is no longer based on these superficial ego personality needs, and the other completes me and I need to have this and that to be happy and feel good. Now you're relating as divine entities that see each other's soul essence when you are together, and the respect for each other goes through the roof, the consideration, the generosity, all of that just expands. So relating to your beloved will totally change as well once that you've cleared these things and have an enhanced understanding of who you are as a sexual being, and allowing yourself to feel all of who you are, your divinity within. So that's the spiritual aspect of it. It's not a dogmatic thing. It encompasses any belief system that's out there.
It sounds to be like the highest form of what love is. Instead of just learning about it, you're giving it, you're sharing it, you're celebrating it, you're being it. And that beingness of it, that's the highest form of what is possible of the attainment of giving that gift to each other.
So you can see how that would transform somebody.
Absolutely. Let's speak about some of the people you worked with, without naming them, different clients that you've worked with. What experiences have you seen in, for instance, one that would stand out? And they don't necessarily have to be people who are very traumatized from incest or rape victims or what have you. Just
well, that has been my experience with many clients, that there is something very traumatic that they're working with and trying to overcome. And I'm not a trained psychologist or anything, so I don't go that far with it. I do work sometimes with psychologists in tandem, so that there's a holistic addressing of issues, especially very strong, deep issues that someone's dealing with. And I also have clients who, let's say, a woman who's been celibate for many years, and she starts dating, but she doesn't want to just go into any sexual encounter with a man right abruptly. So she might have some sessions with me to become accustomed again of being with a man's energy without there being a relationship encumbrance or expectations of any kind of reciprocity in our engagement. where I can just give to her and help her feel her sensual energy expand and be comfortable with it again.
So it'd be like a dress rehearsal.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Beautiful.
And I've also been, I've also had clients who are, let's say, gay and lesbian. I do work with men. And so a woman who's lesbian who is curious about a man's energy, but doesn't want to go down to the bar and pick somebody up and not know what's going on, or doesn't have any friends that she feels that she can relate to and ask this of, she can have a session with me and feel what that's like. Again, without the encumbrances that go with other dynamics. And again, with men, heterosexual men will have sessions with me with being curious about what it's like to be with a man in a sensual environment. Again, I don't have sex with my clients, but it's a very sensual environment that's happening, so they can get a good hit on what it feels like for them without, you know, trying to find a gay man to, you know, have a date with or anything like that they're not familiar or comfortable with. And then I've had sessions with gay men who are curious about Tantra and want to know more about their sexual energy. And so I can facilitate that for them as well. And then couples. As I mentioned before, couples are one of the favorite sessions that I have because it's so rewarding to see the block or whatever is going on for them clear and feel the two of them come together and have a deeper sense of their love and connection with each other. Or sometimes I'm a treat where the husband would like the wife to receive a massage from him and me at the same time. So she's just getting a birthday treat or something. Or vice versa, the wife might like to know a little bit more about certain techniques or certain things about her husband's body or about Tantra or something. So in the moment there, I can help them out with what's going on, and I can notice things that are happening that they're maybe not seeing, that they wouldn't learn from a book or a DVD. But with me there, I can help them clear that or learn more or things like that. So.
It must be beautiful to be able to witness so much unfolding for people and the journeys and and seeing the openness.
It's very, very enriching.
Transformations happening, and you get to witness all this. You mentioned massage. Is there a certain type of massage that you would recommend?
Oh, I love Lomi massage. I think it's fantastic. I
agree.
Actually haven't what do you call it? Technically learned or whatever. I do my own version of that, but it's a sensual massage.
Your version of Lomi would be what? Because let's explain for those who don't know what it is. Because I have got to experience the Lomi massage numerous times. And from my experience of it, they take every limb, your legs, your arms, and it's like a dance to it, and they shake and rock it.
Yes, it's very flowing.
It's moving and flowing, and it basically releases all the tension in such a quick manner. It's unbelievable. So your variation of it would be?
Well, I do my best to do that, what you just described. It's very flowing, and the dance is what I like, and it's very aligned with the sensual energy that's present, or that I'm wanting to encourage to be present.
The way that we would move and rock and pelvic thrusting, you're sort of facilitating that to happen in the person.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So it's a massage that includes the entire body, and I listen to how they feel for areas that are more sensitive, private. There's always a checking in and a respect about boundaries. If something is not wanted, it doesn't happen. But the purpose of it is to actually, especially in the sexual healing part of what I do, the purpose is to get the energy engaged, because that's where often the the telltale signs of the wounding will appear. And it's only then that we can directly address what's wounded them or what's going on for them. And the other part of what I do, the erotic enrichment aspect, happens once the healing has occurred and the energy is released. It's often that part of their body is unfamiliar to the sensual sexual energy moving them and feeling empowered by that. So the erotic enrichment aspect of it helps that part of them to feel it again and to be awakened and alive again. And so that's another aspect of the massage.
For those who are listening to us and saying, this sounds to be like it's going to be very difficult, because that's naturally where the mind goes a lot. And you knowing and I knowing that it's not difficult, in fact it's so effortless. It's almost returning back to childhood. In the playground, there's an experiential beingness there. And if they could return back to that remembrance of that, would that be a good analogy of what your work would be like?
Yes, that's very good. In fact, returning to the sense of innocence as a child is really what happens when you're able to clear these things out of you. I lost my thought.
Returning back to the innocence of the purity where before, when all the problems were there, not looking at it as problems, but looking at it as the experience.
Exactly. And what I was going to say was the person who's watching this, who thinks maybe this is difficult to do, I would just say that if your body is telling you something, if your awareness is prompting you to look at something that's going on for you, that's holding you back, then you're probably ready to start this process. Not everybody's ready. But if you've got something telling you that I have an issue, I have a challenge, I have something I'd really like to clear, then you're probably ready to start the process. And the process is incremental. For people that need a slow start and small steps, it's very possible that that's what we do. That is what we will do. For those who feel more ready and maybe have more experience with doing some self-work, growth work, or have worked with other counselors and things, it's possible to start and do things a little faster. So the whole process is tailored to the needs of the person. And I would just say, if you're feeling like there's an issue or something going on for you, then yes, you're probably ready to take a look at this and start healing.
And what actually is the process? How simple and beautiful is it for the person to go through it, to start?
The first step would be for them to contact me through my website, Sunyata, Sachitananda.com. And there's a contact form where they can tell me what's going on for them. And I receive that and then give them a call or write back to them, and we'll set up a first session. And typically in my first sessions, usually my sessions are around 2 hours, some are 3. But in the first session, I take a much longer period of time to just get to know them and to allow them to feel comfortable and to relax and to get a sense of who I am and how I can help them. And so there'll be an extended period of that before we get into anything else. But the rest of the process is also very easy. Just things like eye gazing, breathing together, doing some movement together, some dance together, some very simple touch and things like that. It doesn't have to be overly intimate or invasive right away. And it's again tailored to their process, their needs, what they're able to absorb and handle. And we just go steadily from there. There's a constant checking in There's a constant evaluation that's happening both during and after sessions and in between, so that there's an allowance for things to come up, an allowance for issues to be looked at. No one is ever feeling like they're pushed into something or needing to acquiesce or give in to anything. And yeah, it's just a very respectful and conscious process.
And very experiential.
Yes, definitely.
Is it possible to do these sessions via Skype if the person is in places and cannot come to you physically?
Yes, actually I have done those sessions via Skype with people in the UK and Australia. So yes, it is.
And how would that work? They can do the eye gazing with Skype, they can do, and you can still be as if you're in the room but you're not, and you're asking them to do certain things, and they're in the presence and you can see each other in the Skype.
That's exactly it. The difference being...
Is there any great difference in how the effectiveness would be of that?
Well, that's hard to say without comparing it with them being present with me, the same person, because everybody's different. Mm-hmm. But there is definitely a different experience not being with them physically. And I think the effectiveness is still there. Again, it's what they're ready for. So a lot of times just the intention and some discussion and getting some feedback from somebody who has some experience and knows some different things can just make a lot happen.
On a final note, is there something that you'd like to share with others about your work, about Tantra, and about being a healer?
Well, my prayer is for everyone to feel fully empowered in their spiritual, sexual, integrated experience and expression. For men to wake up to the wonderment and amazement of being much more than the limitations that the patriarchal dynamic puts on them. And for women to feel that they're not suppressed and that they can have the fullness of their power sexually and sensually in their life and who they are. And so I just encourage everybody to look at that and see if there's a place in your life where there's something that you can do to change what's going on for you that's a problem or an issue or a challenge for you in your relationship, in your experience of intimacy, in your spiritual, sensual, sexual expression.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. And thank you, The Art of Conscious Living. We'll see you next time.